I'll call the April 11th meeting to order. I need to take off 7A. They said that they were not prepared, so we are taking 7A off, and I need to add 8D, rec fees. And y'all should have a paper that Kat had gave us, because they're probably fixing to start signing up for fall before too much longer. That being said, I need approval for the agenda.
So moved.
Got a motion by Danny,
Second.
second by Chris. Discussion, aye.
Aye.
Need approval for the minutes of 3:14 and 3:28. Got a motion by Bo,
Second.
second by, was that Chris?
Yes.
Chris. Any discussion? Bo?
Aye. Aye.
Bo, it's your turn. Pledge of allegiance. Would you stand? Next is Chairman's report. Last month, the month of March, we had 318 fire calls, 3,542 sheriff office calls, and just to let everybody know, our budget meetings will start the 25th of April at 1 o'clock, or is it 1:30? 1, at 1 o'clock on Tuesday, the 25th. That being said, we have,
I'd like to say something, Mr. Chairman. I would like everyone to remember Wes and Amy Burchett and their son Eason. He was attacked by a rabid bobcat, and he's having to have rabies shots. Chris, you want to elaborate on who you spoke with and all?
Yeah, I spoke with the DNR today. They're going to send out their protocol. That's not a animal control or an issue for us. That's once it's a wild animal, that's a DNR issue. So they're going to send out their protocol to the 911 director and the sheriff's department, and just kind of make sure that everybody's on the same page as to what to do going forward if anybody else is attacked by a rabid animal. I also spoke with Will, I believe, Charles.
do what?
Will at the
Will at the environmental health,
yeah, environmental health.
and John.
Yeah, I talked with him, and he said they're going to issue a statement, a notice for the public, and that should be approved and ready for the public to know, ready to alert the public there has been a rabid animal in the area tomorrow.
It's hot in here.
Oh, hot.
And we got there an air conditioner on. It's hot in here, Bo's hot.
Yeah, it's rather warm, y'all. Are y'all warm? Yeah, a little bit.
Can I ask a question? Where
Go.
did this happen?
Where? Carson Seegers Road. Well, off Carson Seegers.
Hickory Creek,
Creek Drive, which is off Carson
off
Seegers.
Carson City.
Mountain Creek.
Mountain Creek. We done it again. We called it Hickory Creek twice today. It's Mountain Creek.
It happened on Mountain Creek Drive, off of Carson Seegers Road,
Yeah.
somewhere.
And,
Yeah.
and they even elaborated and said, this is only just a few cases
Yeah, the bobcat attack.
in the state of Georgia. Yeah. Help him, Jenny.
So what is the, is he okay?
He's had his second shot.
First round of shots, he's got to have
In the second round.
shots.
We'll have one Sunday and the second one next Sunday.
So he didn't have a lot of lacerations or
Oh,
open?
oh,
On his
yeah,
leg.
yeah,
Yeah,
14 stitches.
Okay.
scratched that pretty good.
yeah. Scratching it pretty good.
But, I mean, that's the first one they've heard of in years.
Moving on.
All right,
Yeah.
with that being said, now I gotta start my computer back up. We got a proclamation for child abuse is, I don't see Carol.
She's feeling.
Oh, you fill in for, it. Good deal. I'm glad you're reading this.
I guess I'm glad I'm reading it too, but I haven't read over it, so if there's something in here that doesn't make sense, I may have to
The
pause
words
a
are
minute.
not real hard.
Plus the bifocals, don't help. This is the proclamation of child abuse, for our Child Abuse Prevention Month. It says, whereas children are critical to Banks County's future success, prosperity, and quality of life, children are our most valuable resource, and they are also our most vulnerable. Our children have a right to be safe and provided the opportunity to thrive, learn, and grow in an environment that fosters healthy development. And childhood is precious. Growing up in a loving home with a nurturing family and a safe community gives all of our children the best opportunity to realize their full potential. Sadly, mistreatment by parents and caregivers can threaten a child's sense of worth and hinder their success in the home, in the classroom, as a future member of the workplace, and in future relationships. Child abuse and neglect can be prevented by supporting and strengthening our families, thus preventing the far-reaching effects of maltreatment and providing the opportunity for children to develop healthy, trusting family bonds, and consequently, building the foundations of this community. And effectively intervening in the lives of these children affected by abuse is a shared community responsibility. Child abuse prevention activities succeed because of the meaningful connections and partnerships created between child welfare, education, health, community, faith-based organizations, businesses, law enforcement agencies. The Banks County Department of Family and Children Services, Banks County Family Connections, Piedmont CASA, the Tree House, the Banks County School System, and the Peace Place are committed to preventing child maltreatment and promoting positive parenting. The Banks County Board of Commissioners proclaimed the month of April 2023 as Child Abuse Prevention Month, urging all citizens to recognize this month by dedicating themselves to improving the quality of life for all children and families.
We got the proclamation there. We've already signed it all. Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate it. And when y'all having the pinwheel?
It is.
The 13th?
Yes, yes,
13th at 4 o'clock, I think.
yes. Let me.
At the courthouse.
Let me double check that, but that sounds right, 4 o'clock.
I think that's what she said.
Because I know she sent me an email about the after-school students coming to be a part of that, and it'll be at the park. Might take me a minute to find it, but if I
Okay.
do this, you'll know that's correct.
Just let me know if it's different than
Sounds
4 o'clock and I'll correct it. All right, next up is public comment and election official limitations. Sue, you wanna come up?
Hello, everybody.
Good afternoon.
I have a prepared.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Care to follow along? I'm Sue Mager. I'm a citizen here of Banks. I've been living here since '99 and had property here since '83, so I consider this my home. I'm also a member of the Banks County Democratic Committee. Over the course of the last election cycle, I was able to work as a poll watcher in both the general election and then in the runoff. I also monitored paper ballot processing. And I worked in 3 counties, Banks County, Stevens, and in Hall County as well. So I got to see how different counties do the process. And one of the things I noticed at Banks County is that the early voting venue, being the election office, has a lot of limitations that make it difficult to accommodate a large number of voters there. And this kind of identifies what those things are. Their lack of inside space, it makes it difficult for the employees to work. They had to set up their poll books in the hallway, and they were elbow to elbow. The tabulator attendant had really nowhere to stand. If you were there on a Saturday, you could even witness the worst case scenario. And the voters' access to the machines can be difficult. They have to move equipment if they get somebody in there with a wheelchair. Even for a regular voter, I was going in there, and I'm not the most graceful person in the world, but I was having to walk sideways, and I bumped into somebody who was voting while I was trying to get back in there to vote. So it's very tight. Also, there's a kind of a lack of privacy, especially if you notice the first machine there is kind of facing where all the people are standing to wait to vote. And then the other problem there is the tabulator itself is right there where people are standing waiting to vote. So they can see the ballots going into the tabulator, which is scanning them. So let's see, the other inside issue I saw was the paper ballot monitoring is done in the election supervisor's office. And there have to be a certain number of people there witnessing the process of it, and they have to then initial that the process was done correctly. So there were several of the board members there. And so everybody's crowded in the office, sitting on windowsills or wherever, and they've got stacks of ballots in their laps because there's no space available to lay them out properly. And so they'd get through half a stack, and then the machine would kick out, and they'd have to regroup that stack. It was really kind of confusing. And there were 2 monitors, myself and somebody else that night, and we both had to stand in the hallway and just reach our necks around and try to see what we could see. So it's very limited. So then, number 2, the lack of public restrooms. There's no public restroom for the voters or for poll watchers or monitors. The restrooms were relegated only to the employees. And then outside, as you know, the space is also not the greatest. There's minimal parking on the pavement, and many of the spaces were blocked off for employees, so that most of the voters had to park on the grass. And there's not enough parking, especially if you were there on a Saturday for early voting. It was completely a traffic jam. People couldn't come in because all the spaces were taken. The roadway was blocked with people trying to get out and get in, and they had to wait till somebody could back out, which was difficult for somebody else to come in. So there's several issues on the outside space as well. And then finally, there's questionable security for the elections officer and other staff, especially when they're working alone. There's no other on-site person there typically, except I guess maybe somebody in the fire department through the wall. If an issue arises, there will be no one there. Like some of the county offices, like here, you have other people in offices down the hall from you. You can yell and be heard. And also visitors have to be able to access the building, but once they come in the building door, if someone's working in their office, the visitors can go down the hallway and walk right to the offices. Somebody told me one day they were working and they were surprised by somebody who all of a sudden appeared in the hallway. So we haven't had any major issues here in Banks, with security issues around the elections, but as close by as Stevens, there were issues, and we have to be careful of our workers too. So I'm hoping that some of these limitations, or all of them, can be addressed before the next major election cycle. And unfortunately, it's coming up on us pretty quick. We've got the primary coming. It's sometime in the spring. I'm not sure that they've set a date yet. But then, of course, the November presidential election next year, that's not even like a year and a half away. So we would need to find out, what options are available to improve on this for the next go-round, especially since we're adding voters to the rolls as the county grows. So my question for you, are there any plans in place for a way to address these issues before those elections occur?
Well, one thing we did once we were looking at 22 SPLOST was Randy Failure, our CFO, sent out 2 or 3 times if anybody had SPLOST request, and never heard a word out of them. So we just thought that, okay, they're fine and happy and content. Well, then now that SPLOST was voted on, and SPLOST can only be used for what you vote for it, they never put anything in there. I mean, I don't know how we can come up with $500,000 to build a new building. I mean, I think the best plan we've got right now is looks like we'll have to build another, replace the fire station that we have where the medics come out of across from the courthouse, and we're looking at possibly putting it over here on 441 since they're gonna put that median wall in. I think it's gonna change our whole response. So we're looking at putting fire station over there, and the other side of the fire station putting the administrative office for the fire department, which is the upper half of that one building. So that way they can move the early voting up to the upper part there. It's about the best we can do right now till we get another SPLOST, because they didn't ask for anything. It's up to the board. And if anybody's got any better solutions, we're open to them, but that's all I can come up with, and that's all I've heard from
Yeah,
the
we're
rest of y'all.
continuously looking, trying to find better.
I'm sorry, say it again?
We're continuously looking to try to find better and more suitable options for the voting.
I see.
But it's just, we have to work within splash monies and budgets and things like that. So we're gonna try to do what we can and make it better. I'm not saying it'd be completely like we would like it, but we are trying to do better because we understand all these comments that you had.
Yeah.
And what we're running with over there with parking and restroom facilities and all of that, so. But we are continually working on it to try to make it better.
And several of us has went up and looked at options on creating more parking. And I feel like we have come up with possibly some solutions where we can have adequate parking, which will make a big difference.
That would help a lot.
Yeah, will help a whole lot, yeah.
There's a way to get the parking and get the traffic direction changed around so they come in
Right.
one way and go out another.
Right,
But most of the parking that we do will have to be on the left side as you're going up there, because the fill system for the building is on the right side, so we can't do any paving there. Whatever will happen will have to be on the right side there.
Just as an aside, Hall County had, I think it was 5 different early voting locations, because they're a pretty big county. And they would rent different areas. They've even rented event venues to put the voting machines in and hold those.
well, our hands as commissioners, I will tell you, is kind of tied on that, because your voter board makes that decision where and how many precincts are open.
We've been asking for them. I
We,
mean, I've asked
we
for
have asked
numerous times.
for them to reopen other precincts
Okay,
several times, but we hadn't had any
I've
luck.
even told her that now we've got, on the new stations we built, and even the older one at 31, we'll take the training room, and you can put your own code in there that nobody else can get in but y'all. Put your own code in there, and that way only your people have access to it, like from Monday through Wednesday. Fire department, nobody else, even none of us will have codes to get in there. They can do that. And even outline volunteer stations. You tell me which ones you want, and we will put alarm systems in there. We'll put cameras in there. because we would like to have them in the outlying stations. Change the code in that to whatever code you want, and we'll shut that station or two down. Move the trucks elsewhere, and you can have the whole station, and they want one location.
So how do we fix that?
The board has to fix that because we don't control the board. That's the,
They had 3,541 early voters in 5 days over there. So, I
Yep.
mean, you're right. We're gonna have
and
to,
if they scattered them out to different locations,
It would help.
yeah.
It did help a lot.
So do we need to have a meeting with the board? I mean,
I've met with them and told them. I've been to the last two meetings they've had. They said they were trying for a grant, but, you know, still, you're talking possibly 2 years. I mean,
Well, and Andrea, who's over it, she's retiring in December, so we'll have someone new coming in January 1.
but the board is the one that
That
controls
Yeah,
her.
yeah, they control her.
so is there any remodel? Could we move the counter that they've got and get more room in the?
We just have to look at it, yeah.
Well, see, the last meeting I went to was the first time I heard about the door issue.
Right.
That's never been mentioned before.
How about this? How about we have a meeting with them? I mean,
I'm good with it.
and see if we can come up with a possible solution instead of,
That's great.
instead of just sitting here saying, they won't do this.
I mean,
we
if they
can't
can
do
help
that.
find us
Yeah.
a building, I mean, we can rent a building or whatever, but basically, all we can do is suggest to them, and if they don't wanna do it, because they control elections, we're
I believe,
out of it.
I believe there are several options on like parking and creating more room and all, that once we present it to them, that it can possibly happen.
I actually
We
spoke
meet
to her
with them and we
today,
can
with Andrea
discuss it.
today
Yeah.
regarding this. I knew you were coming, so I went and talked to her.
Oh, you did?
I-
Okay.
Yeah, I believe she's open to suggestion at
Who
this
is?
point, Andrea. I think that,
Yes, yes.
that she sees there's a problem. And I
Good.
think she's open to try to work together as best we can and most economical way to fix it, to
Right.
find a solution. It might not be the ideal long-term solution, but for the next
At
election.
least for the next election.
Yes,
Yep.
ma'am.
Right.
So,
I mean, we're open for any suggestions, if they're willing to do it, I mean, I've been trying to get her to do it for 2 years now, and she's
I'll follow up with her this week.
Okay, good. Thank you very much. And if you need any, I'm happy to help. I mean, I don't know what I can do, but if you need people to go around and measure buildings or whatever, come up with brainstorm ideas,
Yeah.
I'd love to help.
We appreciate
It's
you,
important.
yeah.
Thank you for
So,
coming.
All right.
thank you very much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you.
All right, next up is public transit, GDOT drug and alcohol policy. Arlene, you handle that?
Good evening, gentlemen. We have a drug and alcohol testing response handbook that GDOT, they give us an outline of and requirements of what we have to have in the handbook, and each year we have to review it. Sometimes they'll have inserts, there'll be something they'll change in a specific drug or whatever. This year, they have not sent me anything to add to it. However, I do have to state that we have reviewed it, that what we call our MRO, medical review officers, or facility where we do the drug testing, and the people that do the testing are certified, so all that has been verified. So what I'm asking tonight is that you give Chairman Turk permission to sign off on the policy. We always have the chairman sign off on it, and I have to submit it back to GDOT, and that helps Tracy be able to maintain her transit system and get her grants and help there.
Now, is all of our testing still being done in Habersham County?
It is, they are a work-wise organization, and that's what GDOT likes for you to stay with, what they call the work-wise certified. And so Habersham does all of it, even just our general employees. It's easier for me to keep it all in-house and be able to have one contact. I have one lady I go to that I can get the information I need and get it expedited. So yes, it is done there. And actually, they're less expensive when you come down to it. You do have some organizations that will be, the bill less expensive is actually administering the test, but if there are, if there's a positive there, and it has to be sent to the MRO, the medical review officer, to certify whether it truly is a positive or if there's justifiable medications that's causing the positive, then they start charging you big dollars. You're looking at $300 and $400 worth. I don't have to pay anything extra. We just pay one flat fee. Does that answer your question?
Question?
Commissioner Garrison?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you.
I don't need a motion to give me the authorization to sign it.
You need a motion to give you the authorization to sign, and I'll make that motion.
Got a motion by Danny,
You
second by Keith.
Before we made the motion.
Any discussion? Hearing none. Danny?
Aye.
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 Next up, Ms. Tracy. Public Transit.
Yes. Hello, everyone. We are here tonight for the FTA procurement policy. We have to adopt it about every 3 years. It's a basic procurement policy. I think the last one we adopted was in 2020, so it's time to re-adopt that and get that sent back over to GDOT. Y'all should have that in your packets.
Yeah, it's the same one we
Yeah.
had for.
Has
There's no
anything changed on it, Tracy?
No changes. They send me a template, and I look through all 60 pages of it. I pretty much paste in what they tell me to paste in. There's no changes in the dollar amount. We don't even do third-party contracts, which would be if we wanted to contract out someone else to do our transit. We don't do that, and this applies heavily to that, and any funding over about $250,000. But they make all transits update the policy every 3 years regardless. So no changes at this time in it.
I make a motion.
Got a motion by Bo,
Second.
second by Danny. Any discussion? Chris?
Aye.
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 Next up, contracts and agreements, Legacy Link.
Oh, didn't I have one more on that?
Well, I think that's just basically for the Meals on Wheels and for the
Wait,
ones that come in.
are you talking about the Transit Trust Fund that's underneath the?
No, it's
policy?
the nutrition
Nutrition.
contract by Legacy Link.
I've got to do the trust fund.
Trust. C.
Oh, wait a minute, I wrote on the wrong
Yeah.
one. I'm sorry.
That's
Go
okay.
ahead.
You-
That's okay.
Jumped on
I jumped on the gun.
Well, this is a new thing. This is the Transit Trust Fund. I've only had about 2 weeks to turn this around, so that's why I'm here tonight. I've got to send this back in by Friday. So this Transit Trust Fund, it is not operating dollars for the transit. It is in addition to. So as you see what is in your packet, this will give us the money to do the cameras in our buses.
Which we need bad.
We really need that, yes. And then I had a couple of other items there. So the dollar amount that we're getting is, in the packets, is $15,584. And there is no county match,
no matching fund.
no match. And we have 2 years to spend that money.
And liability insurance is required on campus.
Yes.
Okay.
So this really came at the perfect time because we've got to put the cameras in the buses.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
I made the motion, Danny seconded it to proceed with this. Yeah. Aye.
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 All right.
Thank you very much.
You can have a seat for just a few seconds. Next up is Kat Roberts, Rec Department. Y'all got the paper here with her proposal for new fees.
Good evening. How are y'all?
Other system services are treasury. I don't know if they, that's just the addendum and the letter of mail.
Well,
unless you,
if she's good with not doing B, because you got her down for B.
I know, because I thought she would be, doing it, but she's not ready with that.
Okay.
She said Randy gets that.
Yeah, I spoke with Randy about it. I don't even have the contract, or I don't mind.
Okay, that's fine. Y'all have a good trip. Go ahead.
So I'm here tonight to present the registration fee increase for, I've got all of our sports laid out here, but most important right now will be football and cheer. Our current charge for that is $85. Looking to increase football to 110, cheerleading to 100. Reason for that being is, if you look at the other counties I have listed as well, we're on the lower end. Looks like Rayburn County and White County, if we increase, we'll kind of be somewhere along the lines with them. We provide helmet, shoulder pads, so we have to recondition the helmets every 2 years. This year, the cost per helmet was around $50 to $60 per helmet to have reconditioned. So obviously, at $85 for one kid, we're already reaching almost what the cost is for a helmet, not counting the uniform that we also provide. They get take home, and the equipment they provide during practice. And then they charge a $12 per athlete to play and participate in the NGYFA. So I know that we're going to be in the hole a little bit, even with increasing, but if we can maybe break even somehow, that's kind of what I'm looking to do. Registrations for football and cheer will start April 17th and will run through May the 31st. So that's 6 weeks that we have to schedule, or not schedule, but to prepare for football season. So with your blessing, I would like to increase football to 110 per player, cheerleading $100 per athlete. And I've also added in a few other things that I would like to do, which may help for any county employee who has a kid playing rec sports. They could receive a 20% discount for all county employees. Would like to incorporate a late fee of $15. Also with a multi-child discount, $5 off each kid. So if you have a football player and a cheerleader, your cheerleader will get $5 off because it's the cheaper of the two. And right now, our scholarship families currently play for free. So if we could somehow incorporate just having them pay 20% of the registration fee. I am doing the golf tournament to help raise the money, but if we can get a little bit of money out of these families, 20% wouldn't be a whole lot, but it'll be a little bit. So with your blessing, that's kind of what I'm asking for this evening.
Karen, I
And-
just have one question. On the football, going to 110, is that because of the equipment that has to be bought?
Because we recondition helmets every 2 years. Our uniforms cost, usually around $60 per uniform. And that's just pants and a shirt or your jersey. So we're already in the hole. We do helmets every 2 years and you buy a uniform. So $85 is not even covering the cost, really. So
Will the 110 get you out of the hole?
we'll still be in the hole, roughly. When we're reconditioning helmets anyways, we're probably going to break even by the time we buy uniforms and pay the $12 for them to play in the NGYFA. And then, of course, we have to pay the officials too. So we might break even with the increase.
Do they keep the jerseys and the pants, or they?
Yes, sir, they keep those.
They keep those? Now, the equipment, they buy themselves too, or we furnish?
We furnish the equipment, so your shoulder pads and your helmets, and then we give every coach, they get X amount of footballs for their team, so roughly 3 footballs. We get the mouthpiece for them as well. Cheerleading, they'll get their full uniform, and they'll also get their pom-poms. So I know last year I paid $12 per pom for cheerleading, so that's about the cheapest.
24? Mm-hmm. It's $24 just for pom-poms.
Oh, yeah. So that was the cheapest I found it.
And also, we talked about the room rental, a minimum of 2 hours. there'll be no more 1-hour rentals, so a minimum of 2 hours, $40, because nobody ever rents for 1 hour anyway. They'll tie you up for 2 hours.
$40 per hour, or $2 for 40 total?
2 hours
hours.
for $40. And then the 3 hour and the additional hour stays the same. Then we talk about gym rental, minimum of 2 hours at $60, and then the daily at $150. In the field rental, 300 and, well, I can't read you right now. The $60 per hour with lights
And 15 with no lights.
and 15 with no lights. And then the horse arena going from 250 to 350 with lights. Because they always use the lights.
At night, they,
Yeah.
Now, on that horse arena, is that for an event, or is that like if my kid wanted to come ride their horse down there, would it cost me $250 to do that?
Not if you just went and rented it. I mean, not if you just went and used it during the day.
Right.
But you wouldn't have the lights.
You wouldn't have the
But now, if you were doing
Hey, event.
an event where you're
that's like saddle
Charging
clubs and all this stuff.
fees to get in and all that, it would be the
That's what this is
350 with
for.
lights.
But it,
A lot of people go down there and ride,
You can go ride, yeah.
trail ride back in there.
I just wanted to make sure that to ride, they didn't have to
Yeah.
pay $250.
Right. That would be a lot.
Get me a horse.
That'd be for an event. Had more questions?
So in other words, a multifamily gets how much of a discount if they?
$5 off each kid. So if you've got 2 kids playing, then one of your kids would have $5 off of the fee.
What do you do with a kid if you have a kid that his parents can't afford?
That's the
That's
scholarship.
what the
That's the
scholarship.
scholarship program.
Scholarship. Because we aren't gonna turn any child away. If they don't have the money, we're not gonna turn
30
them away.
years ago, when it's been the tradition,
Yeah, we're not gonna.
We used to call them red,
Do what?
we used to call them red flag them.
Yeah.
But they, I mean, they would, for free, and that's what they're having the golf tournament for, to raise money so that it
Kind of offsets it a little
won't
bit.
offset.
Can I comment on that? I think this is true. When I was the school nutrition director, if they qualified for free and reduced lunch, they just came and would get a letter from my office, and they don't, I think they're exempt from registration fees. Isn't that correct? If they
Right now.
qualify for free and reduced?
Right now, they have to bring in different forms, like their
Yeah.
W-2s and
But
stuff.
I think free and reduced was one of those acceptable forms if we gave them that letter.
Right.
They qualified.
Yeah.
And if that hasn't changed.
Right.
Is it still like that, Kat?
They currently bring in, it's like their last 3 pay stubs. They'll have to bring in like a W-2, kind of their tax forms and stuff, kind of
Which is
show what their
basically
income
what they
is.
do to qualify for free and reduced, so I'm sure that's the
Right.
reason why.
Well,
they went to-
it would just save some parents a lot of legwork and paperwork and all, if
Right.
we allowed them to use that. Free and reduced lunches.
I think they may have done that in the past, and then everybody was bringing them in. But once you make them bring in their pay stubs and kind of what their tax forms look like, then you get a lot of people says, oh, I've got to actually put in this work. I can't just go get a handout.
It got to where 2/3 of them were free,
Yeah.
and it was breaking the county.
Well, the guy's working good, right?
Right.
Yep.
It needs to be checked.
Any more discussion?
Can I ask this for clarification? I thought Mr. Maxwell was saying it'll be free for anybody that can't afford it, but I thought the proposal was for everybody, even if they can't afford it, but to have to pay 20% of the other
Correct.
fees. So that's different from
Yeah.
free for everybody.
Yeah, well, it's, the scholarship kids, you look at that, and if they can't afford it, we're not gonna turn a child away because the parents can't afford. And we work with them and do what we have to do. And that's why she does the checking process, to make sure that they qualify. And if they can do the 20% or $20 or whatever it is, then they do it.
So
But
if
if
they
they
can't afford
can't,
that 20%,
we're
will we
gonna,
have
we're
a-
gonna let them do it, yeah.
I'm sorry?
If they can't afford that 20%, will we have a policy in place to make sure everybody gets to play?
Absolutely. I will never turn a kid down.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you know exactly what, well, you don't know how many kids are gonna be on the football team, number one, on breaking it down. I was just trying to figure up in my head what each team was actually costing us on
Well, one thing that cut the numbers
feeding them
down,
out. What's our actual cost for baseball, basketball, football per child? What's our actual cost?
I would have to pull that information. I don't have it available to this
The
evening, but I can
reason
pull
is,
that.
I still would like to see us propose that we could have business sponsors. And all, and not written all over their jersey, just slap a little patch on the sleeve or
Right.
on the sleeve of a football jersey to help offset some of this cost for parents.
But now, where would that money go? You'd have one team with a big sponsor possibly.
No,
You'd have to pool
no,
that.
You would have a certain fee set for you to sponsor a football team, a basketball team, or so-and-so, and you would pool it and say,
if it's like baseball,
Yeah.
you may have 12 kids on the team.
yeah,
And you
So-
pretty well split them up equal. There may be one with 11, one
Yeah.
with 12, something like that, but
but
yeah, I mean, you would have a
I'm just
certain
saying.
fee. If you wanted to sponsor a baseball team, it may cost you, I don't know, $400 or something.
500, yeah. And I believe we would have a lot of businesses interested in that.
Sure.
I really do.
They do that in all
And
think so.
it
Do it
helps
about
offset,
everywhere.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I still would like for us to look at that,
Sure. Absolutely. We can do that.
because I am sure Charles Church Farm.
Have on everything else.
So would.
You'll see my name up there at the baseball field, softball field.
Well,
That's
we
right.
we support all that, high school activities, we do it all
Yeah,
anyways.
yeah,
I mean, you know, personally, not
We
in
do.
business.
yeah.
So we're not gonna let them go without, if we can help it.
Y'all good with this, or you wanna
I'm good with it.
take anything out?
Yeah,
That's good.
we can start with that, and then if something happens and we do start getting some sponsors that wanna come in and contribute,
We can always,
we can always,
Oh, yeah.
Adjust.
Absolutely.
Well, then I'll make a motion to accept.
Second.
Got a second by Keith. Any more discussion? Aye.
Thank you.
Motion passes. Thank you, ma'am. All right, next is senior service nutrition contract. This is Legacy Link, where they provide what they got in the contract is they provide 17,950 units of home delivery, for 65, year or older elderly people that qualify, and 1,320 units in person for 55 and over, at the Senior Citizen Center. And, that total cost government is, 100,521. And then the 47.5 Legacy Link for state fund, federal and state fund. But basically, it's a wash on ours, we just have to approve. Well, you got the non-federal funds, the 33,000. But in that where Legacy Link picks it up.
This is the addendum to the 23 contract. There's a couple of addendums every year, where as the year goes on, they have to change it to match what's provided.
right.
As people add, then
Right.
they add the amount, but that was the last one, the figures I gave was the last one.
And our local sheriff to secure federal and state funding is 14,000?
And that's the next item.
Right,
There's none on this one.
right,
It's all supplied.
okay.
But I need a motion, give me the authorization to sign it.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion by Bo and a second by Danny. Any discussion? Bo?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Next is the local share.
Right.
This is where they provide $123,000, and this year, because of federal COVID funds, there'll be more federal money that'll be pitched in. And all we're committing to in this letter is $14,050. That's the county portion.
Right.
Any questions?
We need permission for the chairman to sign the letter of commitment for the $14,000.
I won't make a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Chris made the motion, Bo second. Any discussion? Danny?
Aye.
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 Next up will be Arlene.
Good evening again. The first one up, I believe, is the business associate agreement with Veracity Benefits. They are our new vendor for our high-maintenance pharmaceutical items. For health insurance, they will be the company now, effective April 1, that will be reaching out to our international chain to get our international price, and also focusing on our special medications that they can help save even more than we have been saving. As you know, we terminated the current vendor we had March the 31st. So this agreement is for 15 months. Normally it's for 12 months, which starts our policy year July 1. But since they took over April 1, we just went ahead and did it a 15-month, and it automatically just go into next policy year of 2024. Now, in your packet, there has been a change. Actually, this change just got agreed upon with Veracity and our county attorney about 5 o'clock this afternoon on Article 5, under term and termination, on Section 5.2 for termination for cause. Subsection B has been changed. It now reads, and it's the way it should have been reading all along, immediately terminate this agreement if the other party has committed a material breach of this agreement and cure of the material breach is not possible or not feasible. So by that language being in there, if we find that there's been a breach, that they haven't done what they said they would do, or vice versa, that we're not paying them as we've agreed to pay them, then we normally, there's like a 30-day period that you can try to rectify that, but this, either party can terminate the policy without a penalty of having to pay any additional fees or anything. And Veracity will be charging us $12 per member enrolled each month for the managing of the international program. That is their fee, and they have done a complete audit of all the prescriptions that have been acquired during our 9-month duration of our current policy, and we have a potential to save around $95,000 if it's managed correctly. So
Now, in our thing, that 30-day breach is in 2.3A. Is he gonna change it in both spots?
it will change there, and I believe it changed there also. I just had that one is the one we focus on this afternoon.
I wanna
And I
make sure
think,
this one
there's
gets
also a
changed, too.
subsection that it refers to. I'll make
It's
sure it
A,
is. I'll make sure that it
2.38.
is. Let me get my pen, I'll make a note. Because we've been bouncing this thing around for the last 2 days, so. You said section 2?
Yes, ma'am.
And
2.3A.
if it is terminated, it will still include that we would only have to pay up until the termination date, right?
Termination date or that full month,
Right.
that termination date.
Okay.
Any questions?
I have none, I make a motion.
Bo made a motion to accept. I'll second. Any discussion? Chris? Aye. Next is the pharmacy consultant agreement.
This is the agreement where they were entering into the consultation of reviewing all the drugs and manage it, and actually got ahead of myself. This is where they charge us the $12. The other was agreement they would do the work, so. They're also in the termination section 7. The wording was changed in 7.4 subsection B to read basically the same as the other one I just read, but it reads immediately terminate this agreement if the other party has committed a material breach of this agreement and cure of the material breach is not possible or feasible. It's completely took the 30 days out of there, so that's a good thing. And I also would need permission for Chairman Turk to sign this also.
Need a motion.
I'll make a motion to.
Second.
Chris made a motion, Danny seconded. Any discussion? Keith? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, ma'am. Next up is the contract bid, do what? Contract bid on LP gas. You've got in your packet there, the apparent low bidder is AmeriGas at $1.4821. And even with Piedmont's
Local business.
local
discount.
edition, it's still above.
Was it come out? With the local. I don't know.
Is it?
I got 1.7363.
What, for Piedmont? It changed from 179. That's with the 3%.
It went from 1.79 to 1.363.
1.363?
1.363.
Okay.
No.
1.7.
1.736.
I was
Dan
supposed to
O.
say, that's a lot of 3% there. 40 cents.
$1.7363.
Okay.
I think if they get the local bid preference, they have to meet the lowest bid.
They get 3%.
They're the only one that gets the,
If they're within 3%, they have to meet, I think that's part of the.
If they're within 3%, but they're not.
No,
They're still a good bit
Our-
above.
our hands are tied on this one.
yep.
AmeriGas, apparent low bid. And we've had AmeriGas before. I think about,
Yeah.
3 years ago, Aaron?
It's been a couple of years.
Still more. Still be more, I mean, that's 30 cents.
Yeah, that was 17, and it would be
Yeah.
160, 162.
Yeah.
Like AmeriGas is cheapest.
AmeriGas is the cheapest one.
AmeriGas,
Even with the
1.4821.
Local.
They cheaper.
Yeah.
How much motion we take in?
We'll have to.
Got a motion by Keith.
Our hands
Is that
are
your
tied.
second, Bo?
Yeah.
Bo made the second. Any more discussion? Hearing none? Aye.
Aye.
Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Bo,
Second.
Chris, Bo?
Aye.
Uh,
Aye.
Might put time